Now that I'm all by myself, I'm going to indulge in this last cookie. I don't think anyone will notice.
Welcome to Speak English Now podcast with your host, Georgiana, the podcast that will help you to speak English fluently with no grammar and no textbooks.
Hi, I'm Georgiana. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the podcast. My mission is to help you improve your fluency. And if you want to help me, please share the podcast. That would mean a lot. Thanks. Remember that you can get the text of this episode on my website, speakenglishpodcast.com. Okay, let's start. Today, I'll explain some words related to trials. While I'm hoping you'll never have to use these words in real life, becoming familiar with this language will help you better grasp the subject and engage in conversation on the topic. Come on, let's start. Number 1. The accused or defendant. The person who is accused of breaking the law is called the accused or defendant. They have the right to tell the side of the story and present evidence to the judge. Example: the police arrested the defendant. He is accused of having eaten the last cookie in the box. Number 2. Courtroom. A courtroom is a place where legal cases are heard and decided. People go there when they are accused of doing something illegal or have a disagreement that needs to be settled by a judge or jury. Example: the trial of the defendant will take place in the courtroom. Number 3. Crime. A crime is an act or omission against the law, punishable by a fine, imprisonment, or both. For example, stealing is a crime. Example: I just committed a crime. What crime did you commit? I ate the last cookie without sharing. That's an unforgivable crime. In this case, legally, it would not be a crime, but it is unforgivable to eat the last cookie without sharing it. Number 4. Accomplice. An accomplice is a person who helps another to commit a crime or offense. There could be more than one person helping with the crime. For example, I can't believe we did this. Me neither. But no one saw how we ate the cookie. Now we are accomplices. Number 5. Lawyer or attorney. What's the difference between a lawyer and an attorney? First of all, what is a lawyer? A lawyer is someone who has been educated in the law and has completed law school. They can provide legal advice, but cannot represent clients in court because they still need to pass the bar exam. So what's an attorney? An attorney has graduated from law school and passed the bar exam in their state of practice. Therefore, they can represent clients in court. Let me tell you a joke about lawyers. Good morning. How much do you charge for a quick consultation? $500 for 3 questions. Wow, isn't that a bit expensive? Yes, And what is your third question? Number 6. Presumption of innocence. This is important. The presumption of innocence means we should consider the defendant innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. For example, the judge reminded the audience that the presumption of innocence must always be maintained. It hasn't been determined if the accused ate the last cookie in the box. Number 7. Prosecutor. A prosecutor is an attorney who brings criminal charges against a defendant and presents evidence in court to prove that the accused is guilty. For example, according to the prosecutor, the defendant ate the last cookie in the box, so the prosecutor presented evidence about it. Number 8. Evidence. Evidence is any information, document, testimony, observation, etc., presented to prove something is true. Example: the prosecutor put the evidence of the crime on the table. The empty box of cookies. Okay, it is useful to learn some basic terms related to a trial. And next week, we will continue to learn new vocabulary. Now let's practice with a point of view lesson. I will tell you the same story twice. The second time, I will change the verb tense. So make sure to focus on the changes. You can find these techniques fully implemented in my premium courses. Check out speakenglishpodcast.com/courses. Okay, let's start. Ben had been accused of committing a crime. He was accused of eating the last cookie in the box without sharing it with the others. Ben, the defendant, hired an attorney to represent him in court. The attorney explained that he was entitled to the presumption of innocence and would work hard to defend his innocence. Ben's attorney made a brilliant defense on the day of the trial, and it looked like he would be found not guilty. But then, the prosecutor revealed a surprise. It turned out that Ben had an accomplice, his dog, who had eaten the last cookie while Ben was in the restroom. Everyone in the courtroom laughed at the evidence presented by the prosecutor. Ben was relieved that he was not the only one accused, but at the same time, a little angry at his dog. The judge declared Ben and his dog innocent and gave them permission to go home. In the end, everyone left happy and learned the importance of sharing cookies. Okay, now you will hear the same story from the dog's point of view in the present tense. I'm sitting in the courtroom, tail wagging nervously, as Ben is accused of committing the crime of eating the last cookie in the box without sharing it with the others. He hires an attorney to defend him in the courtroom, and the attorney explains that he is entitled to the presumption of innocence. The attorney makes a brilliant defense on the day of the trial, so I'm relieved. But then, the prosecutor reveals a surprise. It turns out that Ben has an accomplice. It was me. I had eaten the last cookie while Ben was in the restroom. Everyone in the courtroom laughs at the evidence presented by the prosecutor. Ben is relieved that he's not the only one accused, but at the same time, a little angry at me. The judge declares us innocent and allows us to go home. In the end, we leave the courtroom feeling happy while learning the importance of sharing cookies. Okay, that's the end of this short exercise. In the end, it was the dog who ate the last cookie. Thankfully, the judge was in a good mood. Otherwise, we could have had to pay an astronomical fine. Okay, that's the end of this episode. Have a good week. And I deserve a chocolate chip cookie for today's work. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy today's episode? Get the transcript now at speakenglishpodcast.com.